Hello entrepreneurs, it's Eliza back with another video. So last week I was sick, and then this week I don't have the most ideal video setup because I can't find my SD card anywhere. If only I had something that would help me with that. But I wanted to get out another video because this week I wanted to talk about something that's been in the news kind of recently, and I wanted to talk about some of the lessons that I think business owners can learn from the whole situation. So the makeup company Anastasia Beverly Hills has been in the news recently. It's a very big makeup brand. It's worth over $1 billion. It's in Sephora, all of that. But recently it's come under fire because it decided to do a distribution partnership with a company called Rodan and Fields. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Where basically they used their own makeup products and then used the salespeople at Rodan and Fields to sell and distribute those makeup products. This was a very big deal on the internet because Rodan and Fields is what is known as a multi-level marketing company. If you don't know what a multi-level marketing company is, it is basically a company that is based upon the fact that the salespeople make money not only from the sales of physical products themselves, but also from recruiting other people to then become salespeople, and you get a percentage of whatever it is that they sell because you recruited them into the company. It often requires the salespeople to buy sometimes thousands of dollars worth of product that they will then have to sell on to other people in order to break even, or let alone make a profit. And so usually the only way, as a sales rep, the only way you can really make money is to bring on more people to also become sales reps so that you can make money off of them, because being able to sell the product on its own is not gonna generate enough income for you to live off of. When Anastasia Beverly Hills announced this partnership, people were complaining, saying that MLMs are a scam, which has some measure of truth to it. You know, less than 1% of the people who become sales reps for these companies actually break even. Most people lose a great deal of money. And most of these people are vulnerable population demographics, like young mothers and such. So it is questionable, to say the least. But the people at the very top of Anastasia Beverly Hills, they didn't even know what an MLM even was, let alone that the company that they had just said they were partnering with was one. So it was a whole huge scandal. Fortunately, they were able to cut off the partnership before too much happened. They probably spent some money hiring these guys to be their distribution partners, but it didn't have to be a whole huge thing. But, you know, as a business owner, it's your job to avoid any of these issues that happen before they crop up. And so one of the biggest things that this revealed to me as a business owner is to do your due diligence anytime you're partnering with anyone. You know, if you had just Googled Rodan and Fields, actually, let me... Yeah, so if you Google Rodan and Fields, you very quickly get things like, why is Rodan and Fields predatory? You do get a lot of good press, but there's also a lot of pretty shady press that is in here. So when you're doing your due diligence, obviously there's a couple of things to look out for, because I think sometimes people think, oh, like, do your research on a company, and you think to just Google a company. But there's several reasons why just doing that is not going to is not going to be the most helpful. I'm sure that Anastasia Beverly Hills did Google Rodan and Fields, and they somehow missed this. So if you're a company, how do you avoid these kinds of things happening to you? Well, first of all, keep in mind that most companies are fairly tech savvy, which means that when you Google them, at least the first several results are going to be things that the company has basically promoted. Either it's their own content or they've paid other people to make that content. MLMs are especially difficult at this because their employees are often making a lot of content in order to promote their products and promote the company. So you might have just like a glut that you have to get through. So when you are just Googling, it's probably best not to just Google the company itself. You might want to try other search terms like the company scam, or just look through the news stories. Or if you knew about MLMs, you could Google the company MLM to see whether they are an MLM. The other thing that you should do is actually request materials from the company. You want to know not just whether they've been making money and whether they've been growing, etc., but you want to know how they make their money specifically, and that would have avoided some of the problems coming up here. A lot of these companies do have reports on their employees and how much they make. So you should be requesting quite a bit of that information just to see, like, what are their incentives? Obviously, everyone's incentive is to make money, but is their business model based on licensing? Is it based on commissions? Is it based on just straight sales? What is it based on? How are they making their money? So what are they trying to maximize their profits? And does that align with you and how you make money and maximize your profits? Because all of that is very, very important information to know. The other thing I want to say here, and this is actually a bit of a different one, because this would actually be if Rodan and Fields were doing their due diligence into Anastasia Beverly Hills. But I did want to just flag this because Anastasia Beverly Hills has also been in the news for another reason. And I put that in quotes because if you Googled Anastasia Beverly Hills, and even if you look through the news tab, you're not going to see this because it's not in classical news media organizations. But Anastasia Beverly Hills has been involved in something of a scandal recently because they have what's called a PR list, which is basically they send a taste of their newest products in a big fancy package to a set of influencers to encourage them to review the product and make a video about them and send it out to their audience, and thereby drum up interest in the product, kind of as a marketing ploy. Now, who is on that PR list is something up for contention. Anastasia Beverly Hills posted a tweet that said, "Show us your looks and we'll put you on the PR list," added a bunch of people, and then a lot of people were taken off that list, about 300 people, which caused a lot of anger. However you feel about that whole situation, whether you're positive or negative, the point that I want to make here is that you will not see it if you just do a straight Google search. But there's a lot of content on this topic, usually in the form of tweets and in forms of YouTube videos, which aren't going to immediately show up when you're thinking about a company. So what you might want to consider is to do one of these social media trackers. I will list a couple down below, and you should look at their social media engagement. Have there been spikes recently? And what were those about? Because you can get engagement spikes even on negative things, on negative things about you. So you should really be checking those. And if you're working with someone else, you should check out their social media engagement. Like, who are the demographics and do they align with yours? What are people saying? You can rely, sometimes they do like a sentiment analysis on these tweets, but I would still recommend that you go through what people are actually doing when they're tagging a company. What are they actually saying about them? Do it for yourself because sometimes context gets lost and an algorithm might not always pick up things like sarcasm and what have you. So you really should be doing a thorough social media analysis as well to make sure that something like this isn't happening that you're unaware of. You should know as much as you can about the company that you're about to work with, because otherwise you have a situation like Anastasia Beverly Hills where they announced this partnership and greatly angered their own fan base. And even though they fixed the issue, it's still a question of trust that can be broken. And in today's environment, once trust is broken, it can be difficult to get that back if you haven't built up enough goodwill previously, which as a startup, you don't have a lot of goodwill to begin with. So you've got to be very, very careful who you partner with at the beginning, and always, but especially at the beginning. So anyway, those are my thoughts. I will get back to talking about things to do with my startup itself, but this was coming up in the news a lot and it interested me a great deal. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe and comment, and I will see you next time. All right.